Hey guys, what's up? Amy here. Today I want to show you guys how to use my favorite combination of brushes, which is the blush and bronzer brush and the detail brush. So let's get started. I like to start by priming my face. I use our setting spray and a damp perfector sponge. Okay, so I'm starting with the detail brush. We are going to be beginning with contour, and I'm going to use this flat, larger end up here. If your tins are new, they might need to be loosened up a little bit, so you might need to rub a little bit extra, but typically you're just going to tap a tiny bit in the makeup, and then we're going to start to apply. All right, guys, here we go with contour. Right underneath your cheekbone, on the top of your forehead. We're going to do the same thing on our other cheekbone, along your jawline. And then your nose contour is optional, but if you want to do that, you're going to draw two lines. You're going to bring those lines in a little bit from the edge of your nose to try to slim that out, and then connect the lines at the bottom of your nose. Okay, so the next color that we're going to move on to is our main highlight. This is the color that matches our skin tone, and I want to show you that you can use either one of these two brushes to apply it. If you prefer a medium coverage, then I want you to stick with the exact same brush that we used for contour. If you feel like there's a little bit of contour left on the brush, just take a cloth or a paper towel and just quickly wipe it. Now I'm going to tap into my main shade right here. Tap, tap, tap. You don't want to apply too much, so less is more. You can always add. So with your main highlight, you're just going to start filling in any areas that don't have contour on them. It's really that simple. Now, if you prefer a lighter coverage, what I want you to do is actually use the blush and bronzer brush, the smaller end right here, and I'm going to show you how I would do that. Just tap into it with that smaller end, and I'm just finishing off with this main color. So you can see that either one of these two brushes can apply your main shade. It just depends on if you want a medium coverage or a light coverage. So whichever brush you choose to use, just go ahead and fill in with that main highlight. Okay, so I filled in most of the rest of my face with my main color, and we're moving on to the third shade, which is our Brightening Highlight. This is the lightest color in our palette, and I'm gonna go back to that detail brush to the smaller end and tap into my light shade. We're concentrating the lighter shade in the inner and outer corner of our eye. Less is more here, so start light again, okay? You can always add more color. And then we're also gonna put this lighter shade down the center of our face. I like to use my pinky on my nose. Just create some brightness, just like that. Okay, the other place, I'm gonna use what's left on the brush to put on my eyelids. This will act as a primer before we put our eyeshadow on. Okay, so my 3D foundation is on. Now I need to blend. My favorite brush to blend with is the blush and bronzer, that smaller end. You can also use the detail brush. Again, it's just personal preference. You can play around with the brushes and see what works best. You want to blend from light to dark. So start blending your lightest shades first, and then end with your contour. All right, here's where the magic happens, you guys, because cream makeup blends so beautifully. So especially as it warms up to your face, it's just gonna blend super easy and look really natural at the end. Next up is bronzer. I am using the fluffy large end of this blush and bronzer brush. I'm ever so lightly tapping into the bronzer. It's very pigmented, so you don't need a lot. I am going to think of this as a 3 on my face. This is where the sun would naturally hit, on the top of your forehead, on the top of your cheekbone, and then you can bring it down along your jawline. And I'm gonna bring it down a little bit on my neck. I have a turtleneck on today, so you really can't see, but my neck is much lighter than my face and my chest, so it just evens it all out. So the bronzer is going to go a little bit lower than the contour on our forehead, and then a little bit higher on our cheek than the contour. They're not going in exactly the same place. Okay, next up is blush. I'm using the same brush, the smaller end, tapping in. For a more lifted look, make sure you keep your blush above the apples of your cheeks. And then I'm going to blend. Using the big fluffy end to blend, and then I'm just tapping on a little bit of lip color. Okay, so I'm moving on to my brows. What I like to do first is brush them up. And then many people can use their contour color or one of their eyeshadows to fill their brows in. So what I suggest is trying your contour color. It is super easy to use a cream to fill in your brows. I like using this eyeshadow color to fill in, and I'm just gonna use a very small amount of it. And here I go.
All right, when you're filling in your brows, you just want to use short little tiny strokes to mimic those brow hairs. I start at the inner edge of my brow and kind of brush some strokes up, and then I will fill in the rest and kind of create the shape that I want.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do some eyeshadow and mascara. I'll hop back on to show you how to set your makeup and how I finish off this look. If you wanna see a basic eyeshadow tutorial, I have those as well, so you can catch those in a different video. Okay, so my eyes are done, and now I just need to set my makeup and finish off this look. Let me show you how I do that. I'm gonna start with my setting spray. This is the same thing I did at the very beginning to prime my face. When you are using your setting spray, you're using it with a damp sponge, and you are just very lightly tapping or pushing it onto your face. This is gonna help with a final blending job. It's gonna pull off any excess makeup if you put too much on somewhere. And it is pushing that setting spray into your face so your makeup lasts all day. I'm gonna make sure the smaller end of my blush and bronzer brush is clean, so I'm just wiping it off a little bit. And now I'm going into my setting powder. Use your setting powder anywhere where you want a matte finish, where you're oily, or where you just want a little bit of extra protection. And then the last fun touch is illuminator. Let's add a little bit of shimmer.
Just tap that illuminator onto the tops of your cheekbones right above where your blush is. You can also put it a little bit down the center of your nose, on your cupid's bow, and even on your bottom lip.
All right, guys, that's it. So that was our application with the blush and bronzer and the detail brush. If you have any questions or need help, please reach out to me. That is what I'm here for. You can watch this video as many times as you need to. Follow along, put your makeup on with me, pause the video when you need to. Just know that as with anything, it will get easier with practice. So the more you do your makeup like this, it'll eventually just become second nature. I promise this makeup is so easy to do. Keep at it, and I can't wait to see your selfies. Send them to me. Show me your beautiful faces, and let me know how I can help.